Good morning, everyone. We're just going to give it about 2 more minutes to see if there's any additional attendees that would like to join in. Thank you very much. All right, I think we are ready to start. So good morning, everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our online safety webinar. Kindly allow me the opportunity to introduce myself. My name is Wayne Thompson. I'm an occupational health and safety agent specializing in workplace safety, and I will be your host for today's session. Firstly, I would like to thank each and every one of you for making the time to join us today. We are excited to share our expertise with you and to provide valuable insights on the health and safety within Young Hendricks operation and some key elements on warehouse environments. Before we begin, I would like to go over a few housekeeping items. Please ensure that your audio is muted to avoid any background noise. You are more than welcome to post questions through the chat box that will then address during the question and answers. A recording will be shared after the session via a follow-up email link. So without further ado, let's get started with the content of today's session. So firstly, we will be doing the introduction to warehouse safety. Thereafter, it will be the legal references within South Africa, material handling equipment safety, lithium battery safety, PPE requirements, and safety signs. Thereafter, stacking of articles and racking, rules and instructions for warehouse work, lighting, noise and ventilation, fire precautions and means of egress, and then lastly, we'll do the conclusion. We will now play a video to stress the importance of dangers within a warehouse environment. So it just shows us how quickly an incident can happen. And I think it's the importance of each and every one of us to make sure that we identify hazards and potential risks. And then from there, we need to action it accordingly. So firstly, we will do the introduction to warehouse safety. Every warehouse is a unique blend of potential hazards. The rush of material handling equipment, the towering shelves of goods, as well as the hassle of loading and unloading. All these activities come with their own set of risks. Missing out on these risks can have a severe consequence. Hierarchy of controls set out is in 5 stages, and this assists any organization to reduce the risk in the workplace. That's why Young Heinrich has implemented a 360-degree safety solution and assistance system in warehouse environments. The focus is to eliminate exposure to risk, substitute by means of machinery systems instead of human intensity, and engineering controls designed to protect your employees at work and to minimize damages. Constant workflow and workload changes. Even under safe conditions, working in a warehouse can still be labor-intensive. Workers are constantly on their feet, walking, bending, lifting and operating dangerous equipment, making it a physical demanding task. The workload needs in a warehouse are also dynamic, changing from day to day and even from hour to hour. Environmental factors such as high or low temperatures, noise levels, and poor lighting also affects workers' health and safety in a warehouse. These ever-changing conditions, if not properly managed, can have a negative impact on safety. We will now focus on the legal requirements related to warehouse safety and material handling equipment. So firstly, we've got the Occupational Health and Safety Act. In this act, it covers duties, general duties of employers to their employees, general duties of employers and self-employed persons other than their employees, general duties of employees at work, duty to not interfere with, damage or misuse things, report to the inspector regarding certain incidents, acts or omissions by employees or mandatories and offences, penalties and special orders of court. Secondly, driven machinery regulations, which covers forklifts, lifting equipment, and potential portable electrical tools. Electrical machinery regulations, electrical or battery operated machinery, batteries, electrical tools, and equipment. General safety regulations covers first aid, working at heights, signage, stacking of articles. General admin regulations covers incident investigation, reporting and recording. Economic regulations, duties of employers and their employees, economic risk assessments, and medical surveillance. Then lastly, environmental regulation for workplaces, which makes reference to lighting, noise, ventilation, housekeeping, fire precautions, and means of egress. So material handling equipment safety is essential to prevent accidents and ensure a safe working environment. Here are some key requirements. Firstly, proper training. Operators must undergo formal training and hold a valid certification. Training should cover operational basics, safety guidelines, and best practice. Daily inspections. Perform daily inspections to check brakes, steering, tires, lifting devices, lights, and safety devices. Report any defects or damages immediately. Load capacity and balance. Know the material handling equipment's load capacity and ensure loads are properly balanced. Overloading can cause tipping. Load testing. Material handling equipment must be tested and certified by an accredited LMI. Clear visibility. Maintain clear visibility of the surrounding area, including the load and path of travel. Use proper lighting and warning devices. Safe operating practices. Drive at a safe speed. Maintain a safe distance from other objects and people. And keep the material handling equipment stable when turning or stopping. Never drive with people in an elevated position. This may result in a risk of a fall. Proper maintenance. Follow a regular maintenance schedule and conduct pre-trip inspections. This helps identify potential issues before they become hazards. Then, use of safety gear. Always wear a seatbelt. Ensure that the operator cab is comfortable and economically designed. Documentation. Keep record of inspections, maintenance, and any incidents involving lifting equipment. Clear communication. Use clear signals and communication methods to coordinate lifting operations, especially in noisy environments. Mechanical lifting equipment. Always follow all the instructions in your workplace concerning mechanical lifting and load handling. Only drive the material handling equipment if you can see in the direction you are driving and can see all the other traffic movements. Lifting a load onto a shelf or from a shelf. Drive into the loading position and only lift or lower the load when the material handling equipment is in a complete standstill. Start the lift carefully to assess whether the load is stable. Lower the load onto its place. Don't slide it or push it with the tips of the forks. Make use of rear view mirrors, 360-degree cameras, and blind mirrors before reversing. Lower the forks only, then back up from the shelf. Never raise a load over other workers. Next, we will be discussing lithium battery safety. Material handling equipment, lithium-ion batteries offer many benefits, but it's crucial to handle them safely to prevent accidents. Here are some key safety requirements. Proper charging. Use only chargers designed for lithium batteries. Avoid overcharging, as it can lead to overheating and potential fire hazards. Temperature control. Store and charge batteries in a cool, dry place. Extreme temperatures can damage the battery and increase the risk of failure. Handling and storage. Handle batteries with care to avoid physical damage. Store them in a well-ventilated area to prevent buildup of gases. Regular inspection. Perform regular inspection to check for any signs of damage, swelling, or leaks. Replace damaged batteries immediately. Use of safety gear. Wear appropriate personal protective equipment such as gloves and safety glasses when handling batteries. Emergency procedures. Have clear emergency procedures in place in case of a battery fire. This includes having fire extinguishers and spill containment kits readily available. Proper disposal. Follow local regulations for the disposal and recycling of lithium batteries to prevent environmental hazards. By following these safety requirements, you can ensure a safer working environment when using lithium-ion batteries. Personal protective equipment. The Occupational Health and Safety Act requires employers to perform continuous hazard assessments to determine what type of PPE is needed. Each employee is also responsible for providing needed PPE for employees, training employees on the proper use of and care of personal protective equipment, maintaining PPE and replacing as needed. The onus for personal protective equipment and the proper use thereof doesn't only fall under the employer. Employees must properly wear PPE, attend training sessions, take care for, clean and properly store PPE, and inform supervisors when PPE needs to be replaced or repaired. Common types of PPE used in the warehousing includes hard hats, high visibility jackets or vests, safety glasses or goggles, safety boots with steel toe caps, overalls, safety gloves, and mandatory safety signage. So interesting fact, and did you know that workplace safety signs and symbolic symbols play a critical role in promoting a safe working environment? By alerting individuals to potential hazards, providing clear instructions for safe behavior, and indicating the location of safety equipment, safety signs contribute to a culture of safety within an organization. To minimize the effectiveness of safety signs, organizations should ensure that they are displayed prominently, maintained in good condition, and updated as needed to reflect changes in the workplace. Safety signs. Warehouses are fast-paced, inherently dangerous work sites, which means there needs to be clear, accurate signage that protects pedestrians and equipment operators alike. Strategic warehouse signage can also keep the facility well organized and boost the productivity of employees. Although these are just a few reasons to utilize warehouse signage, organizations should invest in warehouse signage to stay compliant with the Occupational Health and Safety Act. There are different types of safety signs used in warehouses. A few different types of signage is listed below. So first, we've got safety. This is the most important warehouse signage, used to inform visitors and employees of safety requirements, associated risks, and best practice. Exit and egress. When an emergency or a power outage happens in your warehouse, there needs to be clear and accurate illuminated signage that lets everyone know where to safely exit the building. Aisles and rows. Aisles and row identifiers should be large, bright, and well located so employees can easily and quickly locate inventory and optimize the picking process. Then we've got dock doors. Drivers and workers need to know where to go to drop off or pick up inventory. And loading docks need clear signage to indicate where to do that. Hanging. These signs hang from the ceiling of the warehouse and have reflective barcodes that can be identified with long-range scanners to locate bulk items. Stacking of articles and racking. It should be no surprise that there are height limitations for stacking and storing materials in a warehouse. When a stack of pallets becomes too tall, it has less stability and is more likely to cause an injury when it falls. Each warehouse will have its own height restrictions, which could be posted clearly and visible around the warehouse. Now, as a rule, all materials stored in tires shall be stacked in blocks, interlocked and secured to prevent sliding or falling. Remember, the higher the item is stored, the bigger the risk of a collapse. So it's always best to keep stacks as low as reasonable practicable whenever possible. All loads stacked must meet the safe weight load indicated on the racking system. A few of the products Jungheinrich offer that assist with stacking of articles includes the following. Warehouse navigation, which is automatic approach of the target rack location in warehouse management. Operation control for advanced warning of overload during storage. Racking inspection for flawless warehouse equipment without risk of accidents. Added view forklift cameras for safe and efficient goods handling even at high stacking heights. Horizontal laser in forklift for accident-free storage and retrieval. I see is there still some people that has difficulties with the sound? I'm just checking the chat box. All right, thank you very much. I see there's one more comment. All right, we will continue. Safe stacking techniques. There are a multitude of storage methods and techniques to safely stack material in a warehouse. Firstly, manual stacking. Workers should ensure that they have the proper training and on safe lifting techniques and training on personal protective equipment prior to moving materials manually. The age-old lift with your legs, not your back, cannot be stressed enough. Proper warehouse safety training will help workers understand the dangers of improper lifting. Material handling equipment stacking. Material handling equipment are an excellent way to avoid the potential injuries from manual stacking, but also introduce their own risks and hazards. Much like manual stacking, it is critical that material handling equipment operators are properly trained. Only certified employees are allowed to operate material handling equipment. Through training, employees will know to place the load on material handling equipment as close to the mast as possible. This will help reduce the likelihood that the equipment will tip over, causing material to fall. Reduce and instructions for warehouse work. The general rule and instruction for warehouse work: operate material handling equipment only if you are licensed to do so and have been inducted on how to do it. Obey traffic signs and use designated routes to drive and walk in the warehouse. When driving a material handling equipment, wear a seatbelt. Also keep the cabin door shut when driving. Use all the tools and machines as instructed, including their safety devices. All of this can be obtained from the user manual. Always wear the appropriate protective equipment and use the proper tools. Make sure you know where the emergency switch is. Keep exits, electric switchboards, first aid, fire safety and stairwells clear of clutter. Clean spilled material right away if it can be done safely. So if not, isolate the area and notify appropriate persons in the correct departments. Did you know? According to various sources, forklift accidents are a significant concern in workplaces. For example, the National Safety Council reported that forklifts were involved in 7,290 injuries in the United States in 2020 alone. While specific statistics on accidents caused by poor lighting are not always available, it's clear that visibility plays a critical role in the prevention of such incidents. Next, we will be discussing the lighting, noise, and ventilation within a warehouse. Proper lighting in a warehouse is not just about ensuring adequate visibility. It is a critical component that impacts safety, productivity, and energy consumption. With lighting accounting for up to 80% of a warehouse energy bill, efficient lighting is not just an operational concern, but also a significant financial one. Proper lighting is required in a warehouse to avoid collisions of vehicles and injury of employees. Now, Young Heinrich has a range of products to ensure that lighting around the material handling equipment and operating areas are always sufficient. First, Added View 360 camera systems for safe and precise maneuvering in the warehouse. Panoramic mirrors for accident-free reversing. Added View reversing camera for safe and precise reversing. Working lights for the best view on the work procedures. Floor spot, floor bow, and floor stripe for maximum visibility in obscured storage areas. Flashing light and beacon light for maximum visibility from a long distance. Day LED, daytime running lights, for maximum visibility in dark storage areas. Now, did you know, according to a report by the Department of Employment and Labor, noise exposure in a warehouse is a significant occupational stressor. The report highlights the importance of conducting thorough risk assessments and implementing control measures to reduce noise exposure. Industrial facilities must adhere to Occupational Safety and Health Administration, the OSHA, standards and other regulatory requirements regarding air quality and ventilation. Non-compliance can result in hefty fines and operational shutdowns. The noise from material handling equipment is mostly due to the warning tones when the forklifts are reversing. Warning tones may be around 90 to 95 decibels, even though this may be short bursts of durations. When averaged, it can be generally around 85 decibels mark. This means that the noise exposure is significant and control needs to be put in place. As the noise exposure needs to be reduced to below 85 decibels, hearing protection is generally supplied. However, it is generally the wrong type. In addition to eliminating exhaust emissions, electric material handling equipment are significantly quieter than their combustion engine counterparts. The absence of loud engine noise and exhaust rumbles creates a more pleasant working environment and reduces noise pollution in industrial settings. So a few of the products Jungheinrich supplies for noise pollution is as follows. Magnetic rubber fork covers for safe, gentle transport of goods. Ventilation. Unlike internal combustion engines, material handling equipment that run on fossil fuels and emit harmful gases like carbon monoxide, nitrogen oxide, and particulate matters, electrical material handling equipment operates solely on electricity. They produce zero tailpipe emissions, thus minimizing air pollution within enclosed spaces, warehouses, and industrial environments. This contributes to improved indoor air quality and reduces the carbon footprint of the workplace. Next, we will be discussing fire precautions and means of egress. Under Environmental Regulation 9, it stipulates fire precautions and means of egress. In order to expedite the evacuation of a workplace in case of fire, every employer shall ensure that A, any emergency escape door from any room or passage or at a staircase shall, as far as reasonable practicable, be hung so as to open outwards. B, every door of a room in which persons may be present and every door of a passage or at a staircase serving as a means of exit from such room shall be kept clear and capable of being easily and rapidly opened from the inside so as to ensure quick and easy evacuation. C, the provision of paragraph A and B shall also be complied with in respect of the outer escape exit from the workplace. D, staircases and steps leading from one floor to another or to the ground shall be provided with handrails. Now, in South Africa, warehouses must comply with several legal fire safety requirements to ensure that safety of occupants and property. Here are some key regulations. SANS 10400/T. This is the South African National Standards for the application of the National Building Regulations. specifically Part T, fire protection. SANS 1910. This standard outlines the requirements for portable fire extinguishers, including manufacturing and certification thereof. SANS 1475/1 and SANS 101/05/1. These standards specify the requirements for installation, maintenance, and servicing of fire extinguishers by a competent person. So in essence, this is basically what Jan Heinrich wanted to, the message that Jan Heinrich wanted to bring to the clients and customers. And based on that, we are ending up at section 10, which is the conclusion. So we would like to say thank you for joining us for today's Warehouse Safety webinar. Our commitment to safety is not only commendable but critical to ensuring a safer working environment for everyone. Remember, safety doesn't just happen. It's a daily commitment that we all have to prioritize. From understanding hazard protocols to actively participating in safety drills, each of us play a vital role in maintaining a secure warehouse. Let's take the knowledge we've gained today and put it into practice. Continuing to be vigilant, communicate effectively with your team, and never hesitate to speak up about potential safety concerns. Together, we can create a culture of safety that protects not only ourselves, but also our colleagues. Thank you for your time, attention, and dedication to safety. Stay safe, stay informed, and let's make every day a safe day. Thank you. And if we have any questions, you are free to ask them either by the comment section, or you can activate your sound. Thank you.
Good day, everyone. Just to quickly let you all know, you'll see on the screen below, there's a few documents listed there. On the bottom left, there's the links to Jan Heinrich Safety website and also the link to Shemco Group's webpage. In the next column, you'll find the documents that can be downloaded. That will be the presenter notes for today's session, which would be the presenter notes, Shemco Group's company profile, and also Jan Heinrich's Safety white paper. And then if you look at the top, there is a question section where you guys can answer for us about the training session. And then that would be all from us for today. Thank you very much, everyone.